if you haven't thought about this, I will try to force you to think about this and have at least one opinion. I think two is probably reasonable too. And it's this. We all have to wonder if there's a tipping point, what the tipping point would be, when the tipping point would happen, what form does that really take is the fundamental question here. And that is the tipping point that changes coaching college football contracts, these coaching buyouts. Like, is there a point at which somebody says, okay, that's it. This is crazy. It's not that these guys are getting rich. It's that they're getting rich over long periods of time. These programs who often complain about money are locked into long-term deals with coaches that you don't see anywhere else. And my question is, because something has just happened, and you can't help but watch this and think, man, like when do people get sensible about this? It's not the coach's fault that they take it. Like, what has to happen to make you think, man, that was dumb? These are these long-term contracts that create these gigantic buyouts that are often more than $30 to $55 million. This is $30 million plus for the coach to go away. Is there a day that programs, whether they have the money or not, and most do not have the money, but is there a point when sensible administrators say, this is nuts, we can't go here anymore? The Jimbo Fisher $75 million buyout to leave Texas A&M, to get fired at Texas A&M, didn't change things. In fact, things basically ramped up. But maybe the dumpster fire that is now a legal fight between former LSU coach Brian Kelly and the school will do it. Maybe this is it. Maybe his lawyer's saying, let's go, meet you at the courthouse, game on. Is this it? Remember, the governor got involved in this deal. And he's a piece of work by himself, but at some level, I almost can't blame the guy. So is this it? Is this the fight that has everybody saying, look, man, we can't go here again. This is crazy. So have you noticed that LSU has already tried to slither its way out of the Brian Kelly mistake? The goofball governor of the state that ranks, let's never miss this chance. The state ranks near the bottom in every first world metric you can come up with. Got it? They're not doing well. The last thing the taxpayers of a state that is near the bottom in every first world metric, education, life expectancy, disposable income, blah, 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 first world stuff. They don't need to be paying off football coaches. The governor is right about that. The taxpayers, the governor says, will be on the hook for the $54 million buyout. That's $54 million because you suck at your job and we want to fire you. We want you to go away. Well, the school, at least they tried, has reportedly offered him $25 million to go away, of which his lawyers have said, how about no? How about the full amount now? So his lawyers have now come back and said, no, you're going to pay me the full amount. The entire process is such a dumpster fire. The governor has demanded that the guy that did the deal with Brian Kelly be fired. That's their former athletic director. They whacked him. And LSU mistakenly thought somehow this would make the very unlikable coach take half the money. It didn't work. He said, no, now you're going to pay me 54 and you're going to like it. So let's go to the courthouse. LSU will lose, from what I can tell, because he is suing over the fact that you guys claim that you didn't fire me with cause, but then you turned around and tried to pay me half the money. So you're going to lose, and they are going to lose. So is there a lesson learned this time? That's where I keep coming back to. Okay, now is this it? Is this where the rest of them say, look, man, the A&M thing was crazy. The LSU thing is really backfired. We can't go here again. And the reason why it's important now, other than it's just a fascinating, ridiculous topic, is that there's so many jobs that are open. I mean, this cycle is unlike any other cycle of coaches getting whacked during the season. So there are a bunch of big name jobs left to be filled. So will they change the way they do business with these coaches? Will the LSU lawsuit and all the characters involved in this ridiculous story, is this the tipping point? I mean, it should be. I mean, there should be a tipping point. It should have happened a long time ago. But I'm going to bet the answer is no. LSU might end up. I'm wondering if, as you watch this thing play out, because he's suing them, and they're going to lose, and I think they know that. So they're going to have to scrounge together and scratch together the money to pay this guy the full amount that they owe him. And so I'm wondering if the governor just doesn't step in, who was pretty mad to begin with, and saying, listen, this is insane. We can't do this anymore. So I'm wondering if LSU hires some nondescript, no-name head coach, and because the governor, and I would say probably rightly so, demands they do a less risky long-term contract. But the market is set by big money programs. Remember this every single time, even in the places where they don't have the money, which is largely the South. There are not that many programs that have that many sugar daddies that can throw this kind of money at a problem. A few can. And that's what sets the market. That's what's crazy about this landscape. And the market is set, the big money market is set by big money sugar daddies. And the market for big name blue chip coaches of 10 years or more. That's kind of the market, because the ultra rich, the 3, 4, or 5, that this is candy to them. LSU, it's not candy. It's a big deal. Most other places, the money is a big deal. So is this the tipping point? I'm going to say no, and I predict nothing will change in a sport that should have learned its lesson. I mean, most sensible people would say, my gosh, did it really have to boil down to a lawsuit over Brian Kelly, a jackass in a dirt poor state? Really? The Jimbo Fisher deal didn't do it? I know. I mean, the lesson should have been learned after the Aggies whacked Jimbo Fisher and paid him to go away. But since then, you know what has happened? The contracts haven't gotten shorter. They haven't gotten more reasonable. They've gone the way of the asinine Brian Kelly deal. His deal is not the exception. His deal is the norm. So will this lawsuit change the landscape? Because he's going to win. I mean, and they don't have the money. So is it going to change? I want you to think about this. Every time I follow these things, and the legal case here, I think it's, lawyers tell me I'm wrong, but I think it's a slam dunk. In fact, what is reported this afternoon is that he alleges that LSU is attempting to fire Kelly for cause and avoid paying the full $54 million buyout owed under the terms. It was reported that LSU had made 2 settlement offers. The first was 25. His lawyer said, up yours. The next was 30. Both would have been lump sum payments. ESPN is reporting the suit alleges LSU claimed that Kelly had not been formally terminated, and that LSU informed Kelly that the university believed grounds for termination for cause existed. A key point of contention is whether former LSU AD Scott Woodward, who separated from LSU a few days after, had the authority to fire Kelly and make settlement offers. So his lawyers have said, shut up already. You're paying 54. We don't care where you have to go get it. Have a nice day. But think about this. This is because the timing of college football and the NFL crossing each other's path should tell you everything. Think about this. According to Forbes, the New York Giants are valued at $10.1 billion. Revenues last year of $700 million, and operating income of about $200 million for the year. No college program has numbers anywhere close to that. Even the richest of the rich, that small program right down the street, can't touch numbers like that. Okay? The Giants, obviously, are in the market for a head coach. They fired Brian Daboll. He was dead man walking for well over a year. Do you know what his deal was like? I mean, put this up against Brian Kelly, put this up against practically any coaching deal out there. And I'm pretty certain in LSU there's not operating income of $200 million plus. He was making $5 million per year coaching the Giants, a franchise worth $10 billion. He was making $5 million per year. He had 1.5 years left on his contract. He had a 5-year deal in 2022. Now, you notice what they didn't do, the Giants? You know, he was named Coach of the Year not long ago. But you know what the Giants didn't do? What every single college program does. As soon as they have a hint of success. Notice the Giants didn't freak out. The Giants were smart enough to go, you have a contract. Play it out. Brent Venables at Oklahoma as soon as they had a 9-win season, they went ahead and upped his deal. As soon as Jimbo Fisher at A&M had a good year, they upped his deal. Brian Kelly, everyone, they do the same thing. Notice how they don't do it in the NFL. So he had a 5-year deal. No, I'm sorry. He had a 5-year deal at $5 million per. His contract, just so you know, was actually slightly longer than most of them in the NFL. He's working for a franchise that's worth $10 billion. Okay? And he had a 5-year deal that they did not at any point change, extend. They don't operate that way. If the reincarnation of Vince Lombardi or Don Shula or Tom Landry walked through the door with the New York Giants, you know what? The $10 billion franchise owned by a family that's worth $3 billion. You know what they wouldn't do? They wouldn't do what USC. They wouldn't do what Texas. They wouldn't do what LSU. They wouldn't do what Penn State. They wouldn't do what any of these programs do. The majority of college programs, they would not do exactly what has put these college programs in the place they're in. That has the governor of Louisiana freaking out. They would not extend the Giant contract. Like I said, Vince Lombardi. You know how we know that? Because there's kind of a Vince Lombardi in Kansas City. He doesn't have a brand new deal. The longest deal he got was 5 years, and he has multiple Super Bowls. So is this the tipping point? The fight that's not going to go away anytime soon, that if LSU wants to push back, and I don't think they will, that this ends up in a big legal fight, and they're going to end up paying him. And probably he'll turn around and say, and oh, by the way, we want legal fees too. Have a good day. Is this one the tipping point? You buy it? I mean, would LSU do, would Penn State do, would all these other big-name programs, would they turn around and operate like the Giants? Hey, here's a recommendation backed up by my own experience, a great experience. And that is, I've been a client of DJC Law, and I can tell you this. You're going to get 3 things with DJC Law. You'll notice it right away. The difference is you will get peace of mind. They will take care of every single detail perfectly, and you will get the result you deserve. If you're injured by the negligence of someone else, fighting with an insurance company for any reason, trust me when I tell you, you will need DJC Law. Dan Christensen and his team of attorneys have a remarkable track record. I've known Dan a long time. He's a military vet. He's board certified in civil trial law, and I've been a client. So you can trust them. You will get the result you deserve. Check out teamjustice.com, and you'll see thousands of 5-star reviews. The bottom line is, if you're in an accident, you need DJC Law. Contact them right away. 512-888-9999.